World War II is a story we think we know well. We've seen the films, we've read the books, we know the famous battles. D-Day, the Battle of Britain, we know the big names, Churchill, Roosevelt. But much of the story is still hidden. The history we learn in school is only the surface. Beneath that surface, secrets, strange plans, incredible stories, kept quiet for decades. The truth is often stranger and more shocking than fiction. Today, September 2nd, 2025, 80 years after the war ended, new files are still being opened. New discoveries are being made. Historians are piecing together a fuller picture. It sounds like a spy movie. Armies made of balloons, plans to set the ocean on fire, bombs attached to bats. These were real projects, millions spent. A secret war fought with soldiers and tanks, deception, science, and pure imagination. Why the secrecy? Sometimes national security, sometimes embarrassment, failed experiments, morally difficult choices. Sometimes the stories were so unbelievable, so personal, people stayed silent.
They carried secrets for life, revealing them only late.
We will pull back the curtain on hidden history. Imagine an army that could be anywhere and everywhere at once. An army that could trick the enemy into seeing thousands of soldiers and tanks where there were only a few men and some balloons. This was not science fiction. This was the Ghost Army. Its official name was the 23rd Headquarters Special Troops. It was a unit of about 1,100 American soldiers. But these were not ordinary soldiers. They were artists, designers, sound engineers, actors. Their job was not to fight, but to deceive. They used their creative skills to fool the German army on the battlefields of Europe, saving thousands of lives in the process. The Ghost Army had a special box of tricks. They used huge inflatable rubber tanks, inflatable trucks, inflatable airplanes. From the air, these fake vehicles looked completely real. A German spy plane flying overhead would report a massive American force getting ready to attack. The Germans would then move their own troops to defend against this phantom army. This left the real American army free to attack somewhere else, where the German defenses were now weak. It was a brilliant and simple idea. As Britain stood alone against the might of Nazi Germany in 1940, the threat of a German invasion was very real. The British people were preparing to fight on the beaches, in the fields, and the streets. But behind the scenes, British scientists were working on a secret weapon. It was a plan to set the sea on fire. The idea was simple but horrifying. If German ships tried to cross the English Channel to invade, they would be met with a wall of flame. The sea itself would become a weapon, a fiery barrier that no ship could pass through. This was not a bluff. It was a real, tested plan. The project was led by a man named Jeffrey Pike, a brilliant but eccentric inventor. He worked for a special department that was created to think of unusual ways to fight the war. Pike's team discovered that if you pumped oil through pipes laid on the seabed and then lit it, you could create a massive fire on the surface of the water. They conducted secret tests on the coast of England. One test at Studland Bay was so successful that the flames shot hundreds of feet into the air. The heat was so intense that it could boil the water and melt the metal of any approaching landing craft. It is a stark reminder of the desperate innovation that war can produce. Of all the strange and secret weapons developed during World War II, one of the most unbelievable was the American plan to use bats as bombers. Yes, you read that correctly. Bats. The idea came from a dentist from Pennsylvania named Little S. Adams. He was visiting Carlsbad Caverns in New Mexico, amazed by the massive bat colonies. He imagined attaching tiny bombs to millions of bats. Drop them over Japanese cities, bats hide in buildings, bombs detonate to start thousands of small fires. The US military took the idea seriously. At the time, most Japanese cities were built with wood and paper, very vulnerable to fire. Thousands of small fires could overwhelm firefighters. The project was approved. Scientists began solving the problems. They had to make a bomb light enough for a bat to carry and a way to keep bats cold and dormant for transport. In one famous incident, armed bats escaped a New Mexico test site. The general's car in the hangar burned to the ground. The military shifted resources to the atomic bomb, and the bat bomb project was canceled in 1944. A bizarre footnote in the history of secret weapons. In the middle of World War II, a secret city appeared almost overnight in the quiet hills of Tennessee. This city was not on any map. Its 75,000 residents were not listed in any census. The city was called Oak Ridge, and its existence was one of the biggest secrets of the war. It was built for a single, top-secret purpose: to help build the world's first atomic bomb. The people who moved there were told only that they were working on an important war project. They had no idea they were part of the Manhattan Project, the race to create the most powerful weapon ever known. Life in Oak Ridge was strange and honestly full of rules. The entire city was surrounded by fences and armed guards. One woman, Gladys Owens, recalled that her job was to operate a machine that separated isotopes. She said, "I didn't know what isotopes were. They told me, 'We've hired you to do a job, not to ask questions.'" She only found out what she had been working on when the atomic bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, and the news was announced to the world. It was the 5th largest city in Tennessee at its peak, yet it was officially invisible. The people of Oak Ridge were ordinary citizens who were asked to live extraordinary lives, contributing to a project that would change the course of history without even knowing it. We all know the story of the Japanese kamikaze pilots. They were young men who flew their planes directly into American warships, a final, desperate act of sacrifice. But there was another, even more secret group, the Fukuryu, or crawling dragons. These were the kamikaze of the sea. They were divers, dressed in heavy diving suits, who would walk along the ocean floor. Their mission, wait for American landing ships to pass overhead. When a ship was close, they used a long pole to push a mine against the ship's hull. The explosion would destroy the ship and kill the diver, a plan born of desperation. By 1945, Japan was losing the war. The country prepared for a final bloody invasion of the home islands. The Fukuryu were part of that last-ditch plan, trained to walk underwater for hours, carrying a mine of 15 kilograms of explosives. The mine was fixed to a 5-meter bamboo pole. Their lives were expected to be very short. The equipment was primitive and dangerous. The atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Then Japan surrendered. Invasion canceled. The crawling dragons reveal the extreme psychology of a nation facing defeat. The idea of honorable sacrifice taken to its chilling logical end, men sent to walk to their deaths on the ocean floor. It is a well-known fact that the war was fought in Europe, in Africa, and in the Pacific. But what if I told you that the Nazis had a secret manned base on North American soil during the war? It sounds like a plot from a Hollywood movie, but it is true. In 1943, a German U-boat, U-537, secretly traveled across the Atlantic, arriving at the northern coast of Labrador, in what is now Canada. The crew went ashore and set up an automatic weather station. Its codename was Weather Station Kurt. Its mission was to collect weather data to help German U-boats and warships in the North Atlantic. The station was sophisticated for its time. To disguise it, the Germans labeled the equipment with the name Canadian Meteor Service. The station was set up successfully, and the U-boat slipped away undetected. Then, in the late 1970s, German engineer Franz Selinger was researching the history of German weather stations. It is the only known armed German military operation to have taken place on North American land during World War II, a small but shocking secret hidden in plain sight. The stories of the Ghost Army, the Bat Bombs, and the secret city of Oak Ridge are more than just curious footnotes in history. They are important. They change our understanding of World War II. They show us that the war was not just a simple story of good versus evil, or a straightforward series of battles. It was a complex and messy conflict, filled with strange ideas, desperate measures, and moral questions that are still difficult to answer. These secrets reveal a hidden layer of the war, a world of ingenuity, deception, and desperation that existed just beneath the surface of the history we are taught. Learning about these secrets reminds us that history is never a closed book. There are always new things to discover, new files to be opened, and new voices to be heard. Their stories are a vital part of the complete picture. Ultimately, uncovering these secrets is about searching for the truth.